Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. How's your day?
All of them great, thank you.
Yeah, it is when you're retired.
You betcha.
You and Jimmy Anderson can give us a lesson.
Every day's a Saturday,
Yes, sir.
Except Sunday.
Except Sunday. Billy, soon enough.
Soon enough. Soon enough.
Soon enough, my friend.
One lottery ticket away.
There you go. There you go. I like that. I like that. $1 and a dream.
Yeah.
As they say. So we'll get going right at 6:30. I know you ladies and gentlemen have seen from the packet, we've got a very active meeting after we reorganize and do all that. So I'm going to, see how it goes, but active meeting. Excuse me. Hello, Selectwoman Rouse.
Hello, Mr. Chair.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
congratulations, Michelle.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's support and everyone who went out and voted yesterday. Honored to be on this board again.
Honored to have you.
Thank you.
Okay. Speaking of that, let's rock and roll. We got a busy meeting. So the time is now 6:30. I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, April 7, 2026 Wrentham Select Board meeting in accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025. The Tuesday, April 7, 2026, 6:30 public meeting of the Wrentham Select Board shall be conducted remotely. The public is invited to join via Zoom. The login information is on the town's website. As a preliminary matter, this is Select Board Chair Chris Gallo. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call in your name, please respond in the affirmative. Selectman Jim Anderson.
Anderson here.
Selectman Bill Harrington.
Harrington here.
Selectwoman Michelle Rouse.
Rose here.
Selectman Roy Lamoth.
Lamoth here.
Excellent. Staff, when I call on your name, please respond in the affirmative. Town Manager Mike King.
Present.
Assistant Town Manager Greg Enos. No? Okay. Executive Assistant Amanda Vazzapolo.
Present.
Excellent. Okay. Let's get going now that the meeting is called to order. The first thing that we need to do, if we go to tab number 1, as you all know, we just had an election. And every year when we have an election, this board needs to reorganize. So let's do that. Yes, Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, if I may, for the past year, I really like the direction that this board has gone. We've accomplished a lot, and I really place that on the administrative team we have. So with your permission, I'd like to make a motion to keep the same admin team in place. And so I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
So there was a motion made by Selectman Jim Anderson, second by Selectman Roy Lamoth. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I would recommend to officially appoint each individual position with separate positions.
Okay, so let's go Mr. roll
Chairman,
by roll.
I'll make that.
Selectman Anderson, back to you.
So I'll make the motion to reappoint Chris Gallo as chairman of the Wrentham Select Board.
Second.
Motion was made by Selectman Anderson. Thank you very much. Second was made by Selectman Lamoth. Thank you very much.
Keep going, Jim.
Discussion.
Well, do we have to vote on that?
Yeah, being none. Any further discussion though first or no? No. Okay, being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Selectman Anderson.
Yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion humbly passes 5-0. I mean, I humbly accept, but humbly passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay.
Selectman Anderson, your job is not done, I don't think.
It is not, Mr. Chairman. So make a motion to reappoint Selectwoman Michelle Rouse as the Vice Chair of the Wrentham Select Board.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Lamothe. Any further discussion? Being none, let's do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Selectman Anderson,
Anderson's a yes.
Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Chris Gallo is an emphatic yes. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Bill Harrington as clerk of the Wrentham Select Board.
Second by Lamothe.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second made by Selectman Lamothe. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Selectman Anderson,
Anderson's a yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes. Thank you.
Good. Selectman Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, another emphatic yes. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you all for putting your trust in myself and Michelle. I'm not going to speak for her, but thank you so much for that. I think this board has done a great job. I think we've accomplished a lot to Selectman Anderson's comments, and I'm ready for another great year together with my fellow board members and our town management team. So let's go kick some butt. All right. With that being said, I'd like to ask our newly reappointed clerk, Selectman Bill Harrington, to read the announcements.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Spring brush dump hours, spring hours, April 15th through April 28th, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Gates close at 3 p.m. and Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Enbridge is hosting open house meetings regarding the AGT enhancement project. This will be an opportunity to speak with Federal Energy Regulatory Commission and Algonquin representatives. Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026 at Lake Pearl, 299 Creek Street, 4:30 to 6:30. Read more on the town website. Wrentham Police and Fire will be teaming up on the ice against Norfolk Police and Fire on Saturday, April 25th at 12 p.m. at the Norfolk Ice Arena. Admittance is free. Open burning season ends May 1st and is permissible by permit only, online. Apply online by making a profile on Wrentham Community Connect. More information on the town website. Questions? Email burning permits at wrenthamfire.gov. The annual Keep Wrentham Beautiful event will be held on Saturday, April 11th, 2026, starting at 10 a.m. on the town common, where volunteers can pick up their high-vis vests and trash bags. Wrentham Youth Baseball and Softball annual parade will be held Saturday, April 11th, starting at the center lot at 10 a.m. Opening day festivities will continue at Sweat Fields. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Selectman Harrington. Okay, let's go to tab number, I'm going to get my tabs. Let's go to tab number 3, which is approval of the minutes. At this time, Chair will entertain a motion. In our packets, we have the March 17, 2026 open session meeting minutes. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the March 17, 2026 open session meeting minutes.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson,
Yes, sir.
Selectman Rouse, Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Sorry. Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. I do, before I get any more ahead of myself, realize, because Mike King's giving me the dirty looks, that we have a public hearing at 6:35, and I should probably go to that. So we're going to go to tab number 4, and this is 6:35 public hearing. This is the wine and malt off-premises consumption license application. I think the board remembers there's been a little bit of history here. So we're going to finally hopefully get this taken care of with Marmina the Wondrous, INC DBA Hotshot, 60 South Street. In our documentation, we have a wine and malt off-premises consumption license application. We have got some notation in history with Marmelina the Wondrous Incorporated DBA Hotshot. So at this time, excuse me, the chair will entertain a motion to open the public hearing for wine and malt off-premises consumption license application, Marmelina the Wondrous Inc. DBA Hotshot, 60 South Street.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to waive the reading of the public hearing notice.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Board members, please don't let me forget being a public hearing to actually ask the public for any comments that they might have. I tend to do that. But at this time, Mike King, do you want to address the board before we turn it over, whoever's representing the applicant?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe George Zachary is on the call. He is the signatory on the documents before you this evening. And I just want to highlight, it's noted on your tab that the proposed hours of operation for Hotshot fall within the Select Board's rules and regulations for alcohol license holders.
That's fantastic. So George is here himself. He's got no representation.
Yes, sir.
George, how you doing?
Good. How are you today?
Good. Nice to see you.
Nice
So
to see you too.
we finally got. Looks like we finally got this heading in the right direction.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna the board. So you got the whole board here this evening. Obviously, there's 5 of us. We all have had a chance to look through your application. See there's a little bit of history there. I know that the town, reached out to you a bunch of times because we don't want any of our small businesses to be in a position where they're operating or cannot operate due to not having the, necessary licensing and whatnot. So it's glad to see that, things are finally in order. I'm going to start asking the board members if they have any questions or comments for you. But Mike King, if we're at this stage, that means that all the necessary sign-offs have been done. He's in compliance now with everything. If there are any issues, they've been hammered out and resolved.
That is correct, Mr. Chairman. And, just to reiterate, we had this as a public hearing on several previous agendas. And unfortunately, the correct notices were not sent out in a timely manner. They have been this time, so the board can proceed.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to start with our Vice Chair, Selectwoman Rouse. Any questions or comments for, can I call you George or should I call you Mr.?
George, yes, sir.
Okay, for George.
No, after reviewing all the documentation, I have no further questions at this time.
Great. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So George,
Yes, sir.
are you looking to expand?
Absolutely not. The main reason I want to get back my license is to sell the store. I've had health issues, multiple strokes, and staying in retail it was not for me. So I'm actually planning on selling the store as soon as I get the license, at least put it in the market.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question to Mike King?
Of course you can.
Yeah, Mike, how many licenses do we have?
So we are at a point where we do have a surplus. Amanda can comment to the exact number, but this is not a situation where this license that they're applying for is the only one available, because they are looking for a wine and malt only, so beer and wine, which we have a number of. What we do not have is all alcohol off-premise licenses. Those are currently all spoken for.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is the little liquor store attached to the pizza place. It's just It's not for on-premise consumption at all. It's just for beer and wine to go.
Yes, sir.
And I see that in 2022, and was it 2022 and 2024, there was a violation for underage sales. Am I reading that right?
I believe there is a one violation. I don't remember a second violation.
All right, you're right. That was in 2024,
Yeah.
and not
One
not
violation, Selectman
22.
Harrington.
Okay. Yeah.
It was, I think the ABCC issued a warning with
Yeah.
no other disciplinary
Okay.
action, I think.
Yep. No further questions.
Okay, no, good question, though. I saw that as well. Selectman Lamothe.
No questions at this time.
George, so I just want to say, I'm sorry. Are you still there? Where'd he go? Is he still there? I just lost him. George, you there? Oh, he might. George, hi, you still there?
Yeah, sorry, excuse me. I got disconnected. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just going to say, I'm so sorry to hear about your health issues.
Thank you.
Yeah, very, very sorry to hear that. It looks like everything's in order. So I'll take a vote from the board. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to open it up to the public because I always forget. But again, appreciate you getting things back on track, even if it is just to sell. Please do us a favor though, when you're marketing the product, when you're marketing the business, just please let the people know coming in that, this select board, this town holds our small business owners to high standards. We
Absolutely.
expect excellence, right?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we're probably the most accommodating and supportive board and town administration team, I want to say, in the Commonwealth. So if you could just pass that along to the new potential buyers, we'd really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, George. And at this time, I would like to open it up to the public to see if any of the public has any comments. And I'll give you, you raise your hand, we'll put a little timer on, and you can ask any questions or make any comments you might have.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm just going to give 5 seconds, George, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing for wine and malt off-premise consumption license application, Marmina the Wondrous, INC DBA Hot Shot, 60 South Street.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson. Is there a second?
Okay.
Second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Wish you the best, George.
Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. I didn't vote. Give me
Oh,
one-
yeah.
George,
That was for the public hearing, right?
I don't like public hearings, George, but it's part of the job. So at this time, the chair would entertain a motion to approve or deny the wine and malt off-premises consumption license application, Marmalina the Wondrous, Inc., DBA Hot Shot, 60 South Street.
So moved.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Selectman Harrington. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Selectman Anderson. Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Anderson.
Anderson's a yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. We wish you the best, George.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. So we do have another public hearing, board, but that's not till 7 o'clock. So what I'm going to do is see if we can take care of some other business. And what I'd like to do is go to tab number 6. And tab number 6, this is an interview and appointment of Cynthia Thompson, formerly known to us as our town clerk, who's retired, and I hear very happy. And this is for the Council on Aging. In our packet, we have a letter of recommendation from Kendra Farling, and we have Cindy's COA application. If it's okay with you, Mr. Clerk Harrington, do you mind reading on page 52 the letter into the record?
Yes, Mr. Chair. March 17, 2026, to Board of Selectmen, new Council on Aging member. At the Council on Aging March meeting, we unanimously voted to recommend Cindy Thompson to be appointed. Please let us know when you have appointed this new member. Thank you. Kendra Filing, Chair of the Council on Aging.
Great. And thank you, Selectman Harrington. And on page 53, we see Ms. Thompson's resume. Ms. Thompson, are you with us this evening? I see her. I see her unmuted, but I don't hear or see her physically. Now, hi, Cindy. Can you hear us? Okay. Mike, I'd like to speak to Cindy, but if we're having technological issues,
Hello.
Oh, hey, how you doing, Cindy?
It's been a while. Sorry.
No worries. Welcome to the meeting. It's great to have you. It's great to see you. I hope you're enjoying retirement. It's great to have you on the agenda this evening. Cindy, we know you very well. Your resume and application look great. We read into the record the letter of recommendation. I'm just going to quickly open it up to any board members that have any questions for our former town clerk, Cynthia Thompson. And you just go ahead and raise your hand if anyone wants to say anything or ask any questions. Selectwoman Rouse, anything to add?
Cindy, it's great to see you. Love to see Kendra's endorsement, and obviously we know your contributions to town. I think it would be great just for our residents to know what prompted you to be interested in joining the Council of Aging.
Well, thank you for having me, board members, and congratulations, Michelle, on your re-election. What prompted me? I've always had like a kind spirit in my heart for seniors. I think it's probably because of the elections and the election workers and that kind of thing. And I was hoping that maybe there's like a whole new generation of seniors that are coming in my age group that will be maybe taking advantage of the senior center in the future, as well as a new development up the street, senior housing that will be built on Beach Street. So, and a kind of a walking path to the senior center. So I'm kind of excited about getting more people involved in hopefully going up to the senior center. They've always been a passion of mine, I guess, again, and maybe we can have some new activities or different activities and maybe some new programs, maybe some new trips. But I've always looked forward to doing something after retirement, and elections was definitely out of the question.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No further questions.
Selectman Anderson?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Cindy. How you doing?
Hi, Jim.
So, Mr. Chairman, no questions. Just want to make a comment.
Please.
Cindy's been a lifelong resident of Wrentham and a long-time employee for the town, and her record is impeccable. And I have no doubts at all that she'll be serve the COA as she served the town for many years.
Thank you, Jim.
Well said, Selectman Anderson. I would concur wholeheartedly. Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, yes, Chair. Right, Jimmy said it very well. Cindy, thank you so much for volunteering. If you put in a quarter of the effort into this that you did into your previous employment, things will go really, really smoothly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill.
Selectman Lamothe.
Just want to thank you, Cindy. Great job, and I know you'll do a great job in this role as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy.
All right. With that being said, I think she's got a really tough vote against her here. With that being said, the chair would entertain a motion to approve Cindy Thompson to the Council on Aging for a term effective immediately and expiring June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Selectman Anderson.
Anderson's a yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now, Miss Thompson, don't forget, you got to get sworn in now.
Stop by the town clerk's office. I know. Oh my God. I know, huh?
I've always wanted to say that to you. So
What a role reversal that is.
hey, take a picture of that.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
Thank you, Board.
congratulations, Cindy, and thank you for serving, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Board. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Take care.
We have
Bye.
few minutes before the next 7 o'clock public hearing. Mike, do we have time to
You might be able to do tab 8, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah. Brother Bob. Let's do tab, yeah, let's definitely do tab 8. So for those who aren't seeing the packet, tab 8 is appointments to the Housing Production Plan Steering Committee. So we have an important job ahead of us later on to interview some of the residents at large for the Housing Plan Steering Committee. This, however, is very important, but we think it's pretty manageable because we already did a lot of the work. And this is appointments from the Zoning Board of Appeals, Planning Board, and Select Board. So in our packets, we have emails from Rachel Benson about the ZBA appointment. We have emails about the Planning Board appointment. And we have those all in our packet. Selectman Harrington, do you mind reading them into the record starting on page 61?
Absolutely. So this is from Rachel Benson. It says, hello. At last night's regularly scheduled ZBA meeting, the board nominated Jonathan McAllister to represent the ZBA on the Housing Production Plan Steering Committee. Please let me know what else is needed in order to process this recommendation. Thank you and have a great day. Rachel Benson, Director of Planning and Economic Development. Secondly, hello. At last night's regularly scheduled planning board meeting, the board nominated Norman Orban III to represent the planning board on the Housing Production Plan Steering Committee. Please let me know what else is needed in order to process this recommendation. Thank you and have a great day. Rachel Benson, Director of Planning and Economic Development.
Okay, fantastic. And we already, as a board, had discussed and nominated Selectman Roy Lamothe to represent this board, knowing that he would do such an incredible job. And we had that conversation previously. So at this time, we're going to do these separate. Right, Mike? We'll do these separate. Yeah. At this time, Chair, by the way, any further discussion on any of these before I go into votes? No? Roy's shaking his head, but Roy, you have no say.
I have no discussion.
At this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint John McAllister to the Housing Production Plan Steering Committee as representative from the ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals, for a term effective immediately and expiring June 30th, 2027.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Anderson's a yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe?
Roth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Next, I would like to make a motion to appoint Roy Lamothe to the Housing Production Plan Steering Committee as a representative of the Select Board for a term effective immediately and expiring June 30th, 2027.
So moved.
And I'll second that. So motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by me. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Yes.
Selectman Anderson? Selectman Harrington?
That's a hard yes.
Yes, I like that. Selectman Lamothe?
Oh, yes.
I thought I heard him say yes. And Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Good job. Last, but not least, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Norman Orban III to the Housing Production Plan Steering Committee as a representative from the Planning Board for a term effective immediately and expiring June 30th, 2027.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Mike, please advise the appointees to be sworn in by the town clerk, and that goes for you too, Selectman Lamothe.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it looks like we have 3 minutes. It doesn't look like there's anything we can do in 3 minutes, Mike.
You know, you can always start later than 7 p.m. if there's something shorter. So you could, you know, in terms of some of the items, it could be tab 11, or I could do my town manager's report early.
Oh yeah, you know what we can do, Mike? That's a great idea. Tab 11. So this is the discussion and vote on the conservation agent intermunicipal agreement. We have beaten this thing up pretty well in a good way. I think it's been presented to us at least a couple of times at this point. And in our packet, we have the actual agreement. With us, we have Rachel Benson. Mike, does Rachel want to comment on this, do you think? Director of Planning and Economic Development?
We can open it up to her to see if she has anything to add.
Mrs. Rachel Benson, are you with us this evening? And would you like to add anything on this before we?
I am. I was looking for, you know how they have the video effects? I was looking for a voice effect to do a, are you with me? Yes, I'm with you, with you, with you. So yes, we have been working. This just came happenstance because we already have a regional public health agent, and with Matt Tanis, he had mentioned that, hey, Norfolk is looking for a Concom agent, and is there a way that we could maybe work together? And so this is how it's sort of come up in that respect. So, you know, projects kind of ebb and flow. You're not going to be, you know, busy all the time. So I think this works out pretty well and the town shares a lake, you know, Mirror Lake. And we're very friendly with them with other things. So
I would concur. And I think as part of this board's strategic planning goals, we've encouraged Mr. King to do these intermunicipal agreements and shared services wherever possible, unless it affects service levels for our residents and our taxpayers. So I think this is a fantastic idea. We've had an opportunity to have it presented to us. We've now had an opportunity to further read it. I'm going to go through the board and ask anyone if they have any questions or comments for either Rachel Benson or Mike King, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
No questions, thank you.
Selectman Anderson?
I think it's a great idea, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Selectman Harrington?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Is this job going to be posted online, or I know we currently have one, but I thought when we discussed it was going to be posted for other people that might be interested.
I'll let Mike King answer that.
Yes, it will be posted, but first we have to have both towns agree to the IMA language.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent question. And Selectman Lamothe?
No questions.
Great. Chris Gallo, no questions. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the conservation agent into municipal agreement with the town of Norfolk as presented, and to allow the town manager to execute said agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Lamothe. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Anderson's a yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Great job, Rachel Benson. Great job, Mike King. Excellent work. So let's get that done. Okay. It is actually 7:01. So let's go back up to tab number 5. It's time for the next public hearing, board. This is a poll petition from Celco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless. Verizon. In our documentation in the packet, we have a poll petition documentation. Attendees, we should have Sean Conway from Verizon Wireless with us. Hi, Sean. Before I bring it over to you, I am going to entertain a motion to open the public hearing for the poll petition from Celco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Anderson's a yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe?
Yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now, Chair would entertain a motion to waive the reading of the public hearing notice.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second by motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Public hearing is now open. Please remind me to ask the public for input, and I turn it over to Sean Conway.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members of the board, for taking your time to listen to this petition this evening. What we have here is a proposal to install a small cell wireless facility on an existing utility pole at approximately 55 Foxborough Road. The equipment will be attached to the existing pole, like I said, that we use a meter, a load center, And we have a bracket that will be on the pole that will hold our radios. And then at the top of the pole, there'll be a cantenna, cylinder cantenna. It's about 24 inches tall and 15 inches in diameter. What the small cells is doing, we're bringing it in to assist our network. As you guys know, the area gets very busy during events at Gillette Stadium. It's also an area that we have some capacity issues. So what we do is we put a small cell in that area. It handles the traffic that's within that small area, allows our tower to kind of go back and spread its signal rather than being focused on that one area that gets a lot of traffic. So it helps our network overall, not just in this area, but it also allows our bigger sites to kind of do more work when they don't have to focus on such an area of capacity.
Okay. So this is a cell phone booster kind of.
Yeah.
Booster service.
It's for Verizon Wireless. It's a small cell booster. I mean, it's basically a small tower. It doesn't do quite what a tower would do. It just has the small antenna. We can have a small number of people attached to it, but like I said, it does help with the congestion that we get on the network in the area.
And does this have anything to do with the World Cup coming to?
It's part of the reason we're putting it in there because the World Cup was coming to town. We've been told by FIFA and Gillette Stadium that there's a lot of that we should expect a lot of people in the area. It's an area that where we get overloaded during any events over at Gillette Stadium. So it's an area a problem area for us in general.
And Sean,
yes.
$1 million question here. Is this you going to keep this up permanently?
Yes. That's the plan. Yeah, once this becomes part of our network, it's baked into our network, and it's a part of our network that we'll always want to be using.
Excellent. I'm going to open it up to the board members. Ask any questions or concerns or comments, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
I'll say you asked my question. I'm good to go. Thank you.
Okay. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, no further questions, Mr. Chair.
Selectman Harrington.
No, the question about being permanent was, and I assume it's just to help with being that area is a dead zone quite often.
Yep, definitely. It's going to help with coverage and capacity in that area. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Selectman Lamothe.
Sean, do you think you'll have any locals upset with the visual of that? It appears to be in the trees by the side of the road, but would there be any residents that would take exception to this, do you think?
I can't speak for what the residents may or may not think. I mean, what we try to do is hide them in plain sight. The equipment that's up there looks like a lot of stuff that you would see on an existing utility pole, kind of like a transformer and other equipment that you might see somewhere else on a utility pole.
Yeah. I mean, it's not in front of anybody's home, right? Yeah,
right.
That's fine. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Good question. Let's open it up to the public before I forget to do that. If there's any members of the public that would like to address Mr. Conway from Verizon Wireless, please raise your hand, state your name and address, and we'll gladly have you address Mr. Conway. Let's give it a few seconds, Sean. Five, four, three, two, one. Okay. Chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing for the poll petition from Cellco Partnership DBA Verizon Wireless.
So moved.
Second, anybody?
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Anderson.
Anderson's a yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. There you go. You're all set.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, was that the motion to close the public hearing?
Oh, hold on a second. That's why Mike King is here to keep track of me as my babysitter. That was the motion to close the public hearing. And you're right, we do need another motion. I would like to make a motion to either approve or deny the poll petition submitted by Cellco Partnership DBA Verizon Wireless as presented.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Selectman Harrington. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Selectman Anderson. Motion made by Selectman Harrington to approve. There was a second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe.
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Sorry about that, Sean.
No problem.
The problem is I was going to make kind of a smart aleck comment that we need one of these babies over in West Wrentham. And then I think God punished me. So there you go.
All right, we
Humility.
will look at West Wrentham.
Yeah, I know. I'm kidding. We'll have people complaining that I was asking for privileges. So please don't do that.
Thank you.
But have a great evening and
You as
thank
well.
you for being on our meeting tonight.
Sure. Thank you, Chair, members of the board.
Thank you.
Okay. And Mike, thank you for making sure I didn't screw that up. Let's move on. I think now is a good time to move on to the interviews and appointments for the Housing Production Steering Committee, the residents at large. That's tab number 7. Now, let me just preface this by saying, even though there's it says motions to appoint in the packet, it's come to our attention that at least one of the applicants was not able to be with us this evening. And we think this is a very important group that we're forming, the steering committee. And we want to allow the board to interview all 4 applicants because there's only 3 slots, board. So tonight we're going to interview 3 of the 4 applicants. We're going to have the 4th applicant, and we're going to take good notes, and we're going to remember. So I encourage everyone to take good notes, because next meeting we're going to interview the last applicant that couldn't be with it here this evening, and then we're going to either vote to approve 3 of them for the 3 positions, or if we think that we need to cast a wider net, the board has the option to do that as well. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so at this time, I believe we have with us this evening Craig Garcia, Crystal Burrows, and Michael Johns. If we do, I would like to start with, just because it's in the order here, and I believe Amy Jones wasn't able to make it this evening. Is that correct, Mr. King?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so just this is no special order here, but in our packets, Craig Garcia was the next applicant. So can we ask Craig Garcia to unmute and introduce yourself to the board? How you doing tonight, Mr. Garcia?
Good. Hello. Hello to the board.
Hello. Welcome to our meeting. You're here to discuss the steering committee for the housing production. As you heard me say, 3 members were able to come tonight. 1 wasn't. So we're interviewing you and the 2 members that were able to come. We're going to take good notes. Then we're going to interview the remaining member at our next meeting, and then we're going to do some voting. So before I open it up to the board members, Mr. Garcia, do you mind just giving us a quick intro about you? Maybe touch on your relevant experience, if any, and if not, that's okay too. And why you think you'd be a good fit for the steering committee, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think so quickly, my background, essentially, I worked in corporate as a UX person. So I worked in a job that really defined user needs and worked on systems and solving problems. I built and led teams in a corporate world. But in a parallel path, I've had 25 years providing housing. So I own and manage rental properties. And so I think my experience with working in that area has really given me a lot of empathy towards essentially what a resident needs, what are people looking for. I meet people of all types that require housing, and it's really made me pretty passionate about housing and what people are looking for, and how I could probably participate. I've in 25 years I've probably dealt with hundreds of tenants, so I've come across lots of problems. I've dealt with lots of regulatory things in different communities. So these are all things that I'm familiar with, but more about than that is just I've lived in town for 10 years, but my family has a long history of being active in the Wrentham community. My extended family has been in the town for probably about 80 years. So I'm just at a point in my life where I do have a little more free time. I do have a small business in town, but it does offer me some more free time to participate and help. I'm volunteering right now also with the Conservation Commission as well, trying to do some things to help them out. So I'm really looking to be more involved with town activities, and with a background in housing and a background in solving user problems. from a UX background. I think it's a good fit when you marry those two together.
I concur. I think that's great information. Just a selfish question. You probably don't know much about me, if anything, outside of this meeting, but I'm also actually in the real estate environment, and I actually a couple of years ago just got finished selling off a portfolio of real estate.
Nice.
Where do you own and operate your multifamily homes?
I have buildings in Quincy and South Boston and Andover.
Great, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Excellent. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to open it up to the other board members for any questions or comments, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you. Thank you, Craig. Thank you for your interest in the steering committee. I have a question for you. In reading your application, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your thoughts when you mention complex planning. What do you see as being complex within the housing planning process? How would you describe that?
Well, I think right now, I mean, I know the town is in safe harbor, but I think, the HPP is going to be an interesting role going forward because we're on the edge of falling out of safe harbor. And with the MBTA housing, that being now law, and I know we need to be compliant with that, there's going to be certainly, we have the zoning already, the site's already selected, but how the planning committee can define some guardrails for future development in town, whether it's part of the MBTA planning or whether it's just new developments in town. How do we look at defining the character of the town? People talk a lot about character within the town. How do we define that as guardrails that can support the planning committee in terms of future development in town? But I think the most complex one might be the MBTA housing, which I know is a strong, people feel very strongly about. But how we comply with that, I think, can be hopefully something that complies more with what the residents would be looking for as opposed to, big monolith buildings. I think we can be more creative in how we approach dense housing should the time come. And maybe that requires getting ahead of the problem and putting some guardrails around types of development that looks more like middle housing as opposed to large, a large kind of 100-unit, block of a building.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think Mr. Garcia's background is impressive, and I thought he expressed himself very eloquently. So I've got no further questions.
Okay, great. Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, yeah, thank you, Mr. Garcia, for volunteering and wanting to get involved. We are currently in compliance with MBTA, and I clearly like your approach of putting some guardrails in place and something other than cookie cutter when and if the time comes for a project like that.
Yep, great. Yeah, I definitely would hope that there'd be more opportunity to look at, things that they consider more like pocket neighborhoods or middle housing that are things that you can still get some, should the day come. I know the town rather not see something develop, but should it come, I think you can really get creative with how you get more dense housing that feels within character of the town. First, I think we have to define really what character means for the town, but I think we all have a similar idea of what that means.
Sure, very good. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Selectman Lamothe.
Craig, I hope I can call you Craig, because if you do get voted in, then we'll be working together very closely. But I love the comments about character, and I think we need to be very concerned about what that looks like and defining it, as you've said. So no further questions, but great comments.
Yeah, great.
Great. Craig, just one follow-up question for me. Being so experienced, I think you're pretty experienced in housing and multifamily ownership. When you talk about character to a town like Wrentham, you mentioned things, when people mention things like MBTA communities, you said is a hot button topic, and I would obviously agree. I think if you've ever watched one of our board's meetings, I think you can find out what this board's position was and is on the MBTA zoning. What about, what's your opinion on things like, affordable housing?
I mean, I think affordable housing can be dealt with in different ways. I mean, I think affordable housing is important. And because I think this town specifically, we have a lot of seniors that probably want to downsize but stay in the town. So one way you can one way to is increase supply, right? So if we increase supply, that can be opening up larger homes with seniors moving into smaller. There's just nowhere for people to move. Also, we have workforce employment people that would like to stay in town, and young families that want to start but maybe can't afford some of the new developments that are going up around town. We're seeing a lot of large developments going up that I don't think anybody would call them necessarily affordable. So I think that's where there's opportunities perhaps to put in plans where perhaps new housing can be fit the character of the town, might be something that fits some of the resident needs of the town. So we can have more people stay in town instead of have to leave.
No, very, very fair. And I should have been more clear because, as you know, when you say affordable housing, it's confusing. You could talk affordable housing, and I know Rachel has these like big A, little a, but like affordable housing meaning lower priced housing or deed restricted housing based on income or things like that. That's what I was just kind of wondering what your opinion
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I'm not sure about deed restricted, but I definitely think we do have a lack of middle housing in the town. So maybe it's just opening up more zoning toward that. But whether the MBTA thing comes forward and becomes an actual development, I would hope that that would reflect the character of the town than some of the things we've seen go up in Plainville and Foxborough. Um, but I think to do that means we have to define what that character is. And that MBTA project would be working toward affordable housing.
Great. I appreciate the clarification. Appreciate the answers. Anything else you want to say before we move on? But I think you did a great job expressing yourself to us, your experience, and why you think you'd be a good member on this committee.
No, I just think I'd be a really good listener and collaborator, and I think I'd help develop a plan that was practical and would reflect the needs of the community. With my UX background, I think a lot of that is understanding user needs, and in this case, would be resident needs, and perhaps I could help, be an outreach to the community and find out what those needs might be.
Oops. Sorry. I want to thank you, Mr. Garcia, for your time. I appreciate the input, and we're going to move on to the next applicant. But yeah, once again, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay. At this time, do we have Crystal Burrows with us?
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Crystal. How you doing this evening?
I'm right here. I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Fantastic.
For a second, I unmute. My dogs are.
That's okay. We're all dog lovers here. So thanks for being here with us, Crystal. Similar format. There's no magic bullet or anything like that. We just want to get to know you a little bit. So do you mind, before I open it up to the board members for questions, just give us a little bit about your background, professional, as it maybe relates or doesn't relate to housing, and why you think you'd be a good addition and member on this steering committee.
Thank you for having me. Professionally, I am an executive vice president of a general contracting firm, and we specialize in public construction. So schools, libraries, fire stations, and multifamily housing. We do a fair amount of work for nonprofits that are developing housing in and around Quincy and the Dorchester area. I've been there for 20 years. I've been a project manager, an estimator. I've led our operations teams. And recently, within the last year and a half, I was promoted to executive vice president. In terms of why I want to do this, I think it's a good time in my life, family-wise. Our children are in middle school and high school, and I finally have a little bit more time, and I'd like to give back to the community. We've lived in Wrentham for almost 4 years now. Previously, we lived in Plainville for 8 years, and just hoping to contribute back to the community.
Well, welcome to Wrentham. Glad you've been here for 4 years. Great to have you from Plainville, other great community, but obviously we think Wrentham's just a touch better. Thank you for all your, the willingness to be involved. And at this time, I'm going to open it up to the board members to ask any questions that they might have, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Crystal, nice to meet you. Thank you for being here this evening. I'd love to hear from you what you see as your vision and priority for housing in Wrentham.
I would say that I know from my own street, we have a lot of larger houses and not a lot of families living in them. And in talking with the neighbors, a lot of the conversation is around where are they going to go? They've raised their kids, they've gone through college, they're out on their own, and there isn't really a lot of options for them, and they want to be able to stay in Wrentham. So coming from, a mother that has young kids, we love the Wrentham schools, we love the KP district. I'd like to be able to see more dare I say that word, affordable housing for younger families to be able to come in, and then options for people who no longer need those larger family homes, and being able to have a nice community for them to purchase a home in.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Selectwoman Rouse? Are you good?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Selectwoman Rouse actually just stole my thunder, so I've got no further questions.
Okay. Selectman Harrington.
So thank you for wanting to volunteer to get involved. Being one of the people that you're probably talking about that whose children have flown the coop, and now we live in a house that's too big for us, but have nowhere to go, because what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? How are you going to sell it? And what do you end up with? So the idea of having I don't use the word affordable, but downsized homes for people that want to stay in the community to free up the bigger houses is to me, that's a big, that's a big project, and it's something that should have a lot of attention put to it.
Selectman Harrington, well said. And if you're looking for a different word, because affordable housing is tricky when you say that, people don't know what you mean. I always say diverse housing stock or less expensive housing. Not saying you need to say that, but that's how I don't confuse myself. Because when someone says affordable housing, I immediately think they mean income deed restriction, which has a whole lot of other connotations associated with it. Anyway, moving on. Selectman Lamoth.
Crystal, as a project manager in past years, what was the most complex and largest project that you were managing?
Schools within the $25 to $30 million range. And occupied fire stations.
And what was the most challenging of them all, and why was it the most challenging?
Okay, so I was a project manager on an elementary school in New Bedford, and we were putting a large addition onto the school while it was occupied. And not only was it occupied during the school year, but it also had to be occupied during the summer, because they ran summer programs out of there for children to come and pick up breakfast and lunch, and then take things home for dinner, and kind of provide a summer camp. And as part of that project, we had to upgrade the electrical service coming in. And the transformer the electrical room was in the middle of the building, where it had to go. I'm sorry, let me back up. The existing transformer was in the middle of where the new building was going to go. And because schools have to open in September, we had to construct the new addition around the active live transformer while we were waiting for the new service to be put in, and then pull that transformer out of that building and finish enclosing essentially the middle of that school. And we were able to do that and open the school in time with the new addition.
Congratulations, that's great. Well, thank you. That's some good insight.
All right, excellent. My only other question is, anything in particular that drew you from Plainville to Wrentham, and how do you kind of compare the two towns, having lived in both, with a obviously concentration and perspective on this topic this evening, housing and housing production and what have you?
So we were looking in kind of all three King Philip towns, Plainville, Wrentham, and Norfolk. We needed a larger house for our growing family. We also lived in an area in Plainville that seemed to be headed more towards industrial. The land across the street from our house was trying to permit for an industrial park. So we were really looking for a more smaller community area for our kids. We were lucky enough, we came across a house. We live on Cherry Street in Wrentham. So it's a beautiful, wonderful street with great neighbors. And it was just the perfect option for us. In terms of community, I love the downtown little area of Wrentham. I walk my two dogs down there almost every night. I was never able to do that in Plainville. It's kind of one way down and then one walk back on the other side up the street, where we really loved the little garden area and common and Wrentham and being able to make the loop around the school and then up by the ice cream shop and back to the little common. And
I concur. Yeah. It's a beautiful town. Well, thank you so much, Crystal. Appreciate you being with us this evening. Do you have any last minute comments for the board before we move on to the final applicant? Please go ahead if you do.
I think the only thing I would say is part of the reason that I mentioned in terms of people needing to downsize is recently my mother-in-law sold her home in Attleboro, and we're in the process of permitting and building an ADU here at our home for her to be able to move in. And a lot of that was because there wasn't a lot of options for her to move to and to be able to free up her house. So it worked for us. I'm happy for the ADU by right, and hopefully there will be more of that, and that will open up some of those options.
Great. Okay, thank you so much, Crystal. We appreciate it. Moving on, we have last but certainly not least, we have Michael Johns with us this evening. Many of these board members know Mr. Johns as he served on other community committees with us in Wrentham. I think most recently it was the EDC, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Johns, correct?
That's correct.
Well, it's good to see you. I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you. Is your connection okay?
I've got a little bit of a weak bandwidth. It's I guess that West Wrentham issue.
Yeah, Mike, I've got weak bandwidth for other reasons, but we'll go with that one too. So anyway, it's good to see you, Mike. Just like we did with all the other applicants, if you don't mind, do you mind just introducing yourself to the board, a little bit about your professional experience relating to housing, why you think you'd be a good member of the steering committee?
Yes, thank you, Chair Gallo. Yes, so I've lived in Wrentham, my wife and I, for about 10 and a half years. When immediately after moving here, I applied for and got onto the Economic Development Commission, which I very much enjoyed serving on until I took a new job where I needed to step down. Also along the way, I served for a while on the finance committee in town and enjoyed that as well. So the profession that I'm in is very similar. In fact, exactly the same as your town manager, Mike King. And because of that, I have experience as well as knowledge in public policy, public administration, engaging with, communicating with, and listening to the community. It's something that I'm very passionate about, and I think in putting together this document, the housing production plan, is going to be very important for the leadership of the community to listen to the community at large. And I know that's a big part of what was put into the RFP. And I assume that the consultant that either has been or will be selected will be based on their ability to hold those public forums and workshops to find out what is it that the community needs and wants to be in the future as far as housing goes.
Excellent, Mike. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to open it up to my fellow board members to ask any questions or comments. Again, starting with Selectwoman Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mike, nice to meet you and good to see you this evening. I think we've heard a common theme in the answers tonight from two of our individuals around the affordability for folks that are ready to kind of move to that, move out of their bigger homes. I'd love to hear, your perspective on that and how you see that as a Wrentham issue or your perspective on it being an overall state issue.
Sure, and it absolutely is both a town issue here in Wrentham as well as statewide. I would say that the issue of people downsizing, which actually is the reason that we moved to Wrentham, we came here for three main reasons. One, we were downsizing to a home now that our children are grown and moved out on their own. Two, we were looking for a historic home, and three, we were looking for a sense of community. And we found all three here. Because I have a construction background before I went into public administration, I was able to do a lot of the work that our home needed. Nothing huge, but enough to keep it up. But I would say, in addition to the need for housing that's appropriate for people who are downsizing, to be able to stay in the community, we also need something at the other end, the other generational end. And that is, folks who've grown up here in Wrentham and now are ready for their first home. Often there is not housing stock that is affordable to them. So we have young people in the workforce starting families, and it is very difficult. They may have outgrown an apartment and they're looking for that first home, and finding those that are within their income ability is very challenging. And look for example at many of the employees that work for the town. They find it very difficult to live within the town that they serve. So I think both ends of that are important, both the starter homes as well as the downsize, so people can stay in the community that they love and adore.
So I love your, thank you for that. I love your perspective on, again, we love our character, our community, right? All those amazing things that make Wrentham what it is, right? To all of us that have come here, been here. How do you balance that when we're talking about, creating first, how do you balance that with creating this, affordable first home for families? How do you keep that in balance when you're talking about creating the surplus that is not unique to just Wrentham, right? So I'm just trying to understand, we say this, but how do you see that balancing out and how that would work?
Sure. What we need, just like other communities need it, is more housing without negatively affecting the character of the community, without using up all the land in the community. And one of the ways to do that is to look into innovative ways. And one of those is cluster housing. So move the homes close together, use housing density, thereby preserving, open space. And, what do people need, especially since COVID? People need community. We saw when the world shut down and people weren't able to socially gather and get together, people were isolated. We saw mental health problems. What you do when you build cluster housing is you actually build micro communities that people can live with, socialize within, recreate. So at the same time you're bringing people together, providing them appropriate housing options, you're also preserving the environment and some of the open space and recreation areas that people enjoy here in Wrentham.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. No further questions, Mr. Chair.
All right. Thanks, Selectwoman Rose. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. So Michael's been involved in town government for several years. He's got an impressive background. I'm familiar with him, so I've got no further questions.
Okay, Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Mike, or Michael, have you instituted anything similar to what we're referring to in the community that you manage?
No, actually, we're in the process of doing that right now. So the housing production plan is actually, it's past its 5-year mark, and we're actually looking for funding to do the same. We know how important it is, and our director of land use and I are working on this right now.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Selectman Lamoth. You're on mute, Roy.
Michael, I do not have any questions, but I do thank you for your application and your good service.
Thank you, Roy.
Okay, board members, I hope everyone took good notes. Michael, thank you so much for your time this evening. As we said to you and the other 2 applicants we were able to interview this evening, we were waiting on one more applicant. We are going to interview Amy Jones at the next meeting, and then this board will have the task of making some motions for appointment. So I want to thank yourself, I want to thank Crystal Burrows, and I want to thank Craig Garcia for being here with us this evening. And this board will be reconvening next week, as I said, not next week, I'm sorry, next meeting to interview Amy Jones, and then we'll be moving forward some action items from there. So thank you again to all 3 applicants. Okay.
Thank you, select board members, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Let's go to tab number 7's done. We bounced around a little bit. What about tab number 9? Let's go to tab number 9, board. Tab number 9 is a special event permit application that's already been vetted by our town administration and staff department heads for Foodies Fest at the Wrentham outlets. We've had a lot of success partnering with our largest taxpayer, the Wrentham outlets, on creative ways to kind of draw different venues and revenue there. And we've had a lot of great events that I've attended, a lot of them. So I'm interested to hear about this one. I think this is a first for us. Foodies Fest meeting. So with us, we have Beth Smith of Foodies Fest. Beth, I see Brandy Morgan of Foodies Fest.
Yes, Brandy Morgan. I'm Brandy with Foodies Fest. We do have Beth here as well. She's the lead of our compliance team.
Great.
I'm super happy to be here. So thank you so much for having us. And Foodies Fest, yes, it would be the first time in Wrentham. We do produce large-scale, family-friendly food and culture festivals across the country. We partnered with Simon Property Group. We actually have a national contract with them. So we're in about 20 different locations, different cities and states. And this event is at the Wrentham Village Premium Outlets. It's part of that rollout. It's scheduled for July 10th through the 12th. And our goal is really simple. We like to drive strong foot traffic to the property while creating a well-organized, community-connected event. We do about 60 to 70% local crafters, small business owners, food vendors, things like that.
Excellent. So did you say how many food trucks you were expecting?
So we typically do 40 plus food vendors. So it would be food trucks, food trailers, prepackaged goods, and some food tents as well.
Fantastic. Sounds fun. Mike, is there also, I should know this, but I don't. Is there also alcohol with this?
We do not serve alcohol at any of our events. No.
Okay. Thank you. I know it's in the packet, but I just missed it.
No worries.
What else do you want to tell the board members before I open it up for comments and questions from them, if anything?
So no problem. So we do have a dedicated compliance and marketing team. We coordinate directly with property and local authorities. Our load-in is staggered on Friday mornings. We try to make sure attendance flows throughout the day, not all at once. And that's for those 3 days. It's a 3-day event, so it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's just a great time. So we're really excited and happy to be coming to your area.
And the times are, if I'm reading it correctly, Friday 1 p to 9 p, Saturday 11 a to 9 p, Sunday 11 a to 7 p.
That is correct. Yes.
And Mike, those are all reasonable with the outlets, correct? Like that, there's no issue there.
No concerns at this time, Mr. Chairman, and I will point out that this event takes place after the FIFA World Cup.
Yes.
So the last game is on July 9th, and this starts July 10th.
That's a great point. Okay.
Very intentional.
Yeah. I'm going to open it up to the board members, but thank you for all the information, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. After seeing that it's been signed off on all groups, I just have one question. Brandy, I'm assuming food trucks from all different types of food are brought in is like just.
We do. Yeah, that's actually really important to us. What started out 4 years ago was food and culture, just to bring different cultures where we have African food vendors, we have Greek food vendors, Brazilian, just anything. I'm probably tons that I'm not thinking of, but that's kind of the idea. Absolutely. And crafters and artisans as well.
Great. Thank you.
Nice.
No further questions.
Thank you.
Is there any Italian food vendors?
Of course.
She did say Greek. She did say Greek. So.
Well, she knew who she was talking to.
100% have
She did her
Italian.
homework. Just joking. Thank you for that, Selectwoman Rouse. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, just one question. Where at the mall? Just got to be stationed.
So it's going to be it's direct. There's one storefront where the sign is. I only have a map. I was actually reviewing it when we were doing all the other portions of the meeting just to see the stores on Google Earth. I was having a hard time, but it's in a specific portion that's kind of away from the retailers themselves. So it's set out more towards the road. It's about 100 square feet of parking lot that we're going to be making.
Go to page 68 in the packet, and it shows you where it is in the parking lot.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
If you're facing it, I will say it's farther towards that right side of the Wrentham Village Premium Outlets in the outer parking field. So it's not inside the main shopping lanes.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Of course.
Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, no questions, Mr. Chair. It's been vetted through all the departments and Board of Health and Fire, Public Safety. I think it's a great idea.
Excellent. And to your point, Selectman Harrington, on the motion, there's verbiage in there that says just that. Selectman Lamothe.
No questions.
Excellent. Okay, you did a great job, Brandy. Thank you so much. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to approve or deny the special permit application submitted by Foodies Fest LLC for events starting on July 10, 2026 through July 12th, 2026 with the following hours: Friday 1 p to 9 p, Saturday 11 a to 9 p, Sunday 11 a to 7 p at the Wrentham outlets, pending good standing with fire, health inspections, and police.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion made by Selectman Lamothe, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Anderson's yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe?
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations. See you soon. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. I hope that you all come out.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay,
Bye-bye.
now we're going to go to tab 10. Tab 10, this is a discussion about an upcoming Eversource project on Dedham Street, Route 1A. With us, we have Molly Cullen and or Josh Nell from Eversource.
Hey, yes, I'm Molly Collin. I'm here, and Josh is here as well.
Great, Molly and or Josh, do you mind giving the board a quick summary of this project, keeping in mind we're very sensitive about the issues that happened over on Creek Street. We got a lot of complaints about that. So please, give us the summary and how we're not going to replicate that would be very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you guys have our presentation in the packet. It would be helpful to share my screen as well.
Mike, can you allow to share a screen, please?
Yes, we can facilitate that.
Thank you.
Molly, you should be all set to be able to share now.
Sorry. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you. Perfect. There we go. You should see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. So just want to say thank you for inviting us to present today, Mike, and then thank you to the board for having us. I'm the Eversource Community Relations Specialist supporting Wrentham, and like I said, I'm joined by Josh Nell, the manager of gas construction, that also supports Wrentham. We wanted to bring this project to your attention, make you all aware of the work that's upcoming starting on April 13th. On Dedham Street, Route 1A. So with this being a state road, there are no local permits, so not looking for any approval, but wanting to bring this to you guys for your awareness, understanding the sensitivity of last year's project on Creek Street, and wanting to make sure that we're very upfront in communicating on the project so that you all know exactly what's going on, because we do understand that residents will often go to the town, even if it is utility work. So making sure you're all aware of what's going on and the scope of the project and the timeline. And then of course the need for the project as well. So just to give a quick background of the need, so this project does fall within our gas system enhancement program, often referred to as GSEP. The GSEP program is a federally regulated and mass regulated program. It came about in 2011 when federal regulators of the gas distribution system identified the deterioration of leak-prone pipes as a national safety issue. And then in 2014, Massachusetts required accelerated replacement of the leak-prone infrastructure. Massachusetts has a high amount or a disproportionate percentage of this leak-prone infrastructure just due to the time of settlement in the state and the materials that were used at the time of the gas system being put into the ground. So at the time using cast iron, wrought iron, and unprotected steel pipes, which are very susceptible to corrosion, damage from construction in the area, freezing and thawing of the ground throughout the winter. So that all contributes to that leak-prone pipe. So it is it's very timely and very important to make and ensure a safe gas distribution system within the state. So again, this project on Dedham Street does fall under our gas system enhancement program. So just to review the project itself. So this project, again, is part of our GSEP program. It's the replacement of gas main and all the services from Winter Street to Lorraine Metcalf Drive. The existing main is 4-inch cathodonically protected coated steel, which was installed in 1958. And it will be replaced with a new high-density polyethylene gas main. That is the material that replaces all of our gas main through the GSEP program. This is phase one of our of this project. Phase two will be completed in 2027, and that will go from Winter Street to the Wrentham town line. And abutters will be updated regularly on project timelines through mailing notices, updates shared with the town for use on social media. We have canvassers that are scheduled to go out tomorrow and speak to residents directly in the project area. We'll be sending out, we've already sent out a notice of the project and construction starting. We'll also be sending out before the end of the week the detour map and information on what that detour is going to look like for folks so that they can prepare. And then I do believe we have our message boards being put out before the end of the week as well, alerting folks that construction is coming and starting on Monday, as well as what those detours will look like. And then the project need. So safety is the main concern that really drives all of our decisions in these GSEP projects. So aging infrastructure and leak history is something that we look at. The replacement of the protected coated steel is required to be replaced under GSEP. And then replacing aging infrastructure with high density polyethylene gas main improves safety and has shown a reduction in gas leaks. So there has been a number of leaks on this main in the past few years. So again, wanting to make sure that we are maintaining the system, keeping the system safe, and replacing that aging infrastructure as needed, so that we aren't in a situation where we have to have get in there for an emergency and make repairs for one-off situations. Additionally, we are coordinating with Mass Department of Transportation. MassDOT is performing an intersection improvement project at Dedham Street in Winter Street, North Street. This two-phase project has been coordinated with MassDOT to be performed in 2026 and 2027 to be completed in advance of their work to eliminate any potential utility conflicts. And then finally, just project scope and timeline. So like I mentioned, we'll be starting on April 13th. We'll start with the main installation. And then in August, we'll start doing the individual services. The field complete will be in September of 2026. And then similarly to the Creek Street project, we will come back and do restoration in the spring of 2027. We will be shutting down Dedham Street from Winter Street all the way to East Street. And then we will be routing traffic down around Emerald Street. And we have worked with the police department to confirm those detour details and police details that will be needed for the detour. I believe there will be 4 police details on through the project. Open up to any questions. And then Josh is here and he can speak to any more specifics as well.
Okay, before I open up to the board members, Town Manager Mike King, do you have anything to add to this project?
Not this time, Mr. Chair.
Okay, open up the board members, starting with Selectwoman Rouse. You're on mute.
Technical difficulties. Thank you, Molly, for that comprehensive presentation. No further questions at this time.
Excellent. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Molly, I do have a couple of questions. One, are you shutting the road down completely or just down to 1 lane?
It will be shut down completely to ensure safety for our crews as they're working on the street.
So starting Monday, from the center of town
Yes.
down to Winter Street, 1A will be closed?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, what about the people that live there or people that have businesses?
Sorry, I should mention it will be open to local traffic. So local traffic will always be let through.
Okay. And then the other question is, I just want to make sure that you keep in touch with the abutters if there's any type of changes.
Yep.
Because I know we all referenced the Creek Street project, but that was a disaster. We got a ton of complaints. Okay, so I just want to make sure you guys keep on top of that so that we don't have the same problems we had before.
Absolutely understood. And I think we did have, we did take a lot of learnings from the Creek Street project, and we've already sent out those very comprehensive project start notices. We have the canvassers going out tomorrow. We have the detour information going out that we'll get to folks right before construction start. Everything will also go to Town Manager Mike King for anything that wants to be posted on social media. We've been able to create some flyers with condensed information to be shared out on town channels. And then we do plan to send out more information as the project progresses. If there's updates of if there's any reason for a pause in construction, we'll be able to send out information for abutters to have that notice. If we have to pause and then we restart, we'll have that information sent out. We plan to send out information on when we've completed the main install and we're starting on our services. So we do have a pretty comprehensive plan in place to ensure that abutters are always kept up to date on the status of the project.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
No further questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for those comments, Selectman Anderson. Selectman Harrington.
So Molly, but you're changing the main and the lines going to the homes?
That's correct.
So does it go down Lorraine Metcalf also? Or is it just the houses on 1A?
Josh, are you able to speak to that?
Yeah, it's just for the houses that will be on 1A. There's roughly 20 to 22 services that we're going to have to replace on 1A.
Okay.
Some of them have already been replaced with new plastic, so they'll just be tied over to the new main because of those leaks that Molly spoke about earlier.
Okay. And Winter Street will be open from 1A to turn off of, and North Street. Winter and North will be open. So when you're coming from Norfolk, you'll be able to take a left onto Winter or right onto North.
Yep. And then we spoke to the police chief about the detour, and I'm actually going to get with them again because I'm going to suggest potentially going down Route 140 instead of towards the school to help alleviate the school traffic, buses, and that, especially with a lot of the big tractor trailers that go down that road. I think 140 might be the better option, and that allows people another avenue to just take Route 1 instead. I did also want to just mention, too, with the World Cup in mind, there is some language in our permit with Mass DOT around them shutting us down if they see fit, due to traffic issues or anything like that. So we are sensitive to that as well. And certainly we will not be working if Wrentham will not be able to provide details because of the events.
And sorry, the start date was the 13th and the estimated end date?
Yeah, it's I believe sometime close to September. And that's all subject to change depending on the productivity they can get over there. I'm kind of being conservative with that. And if we can speed that timeline up, we certainly will.
Wow, that's five months for that section to be closed. Expect some calls.
Yeah, and we spoke to the police chief. If it doesn't work and it becomes too much of a nuisance, we'll try to open it up to one lane. The only problem is, I was down there and you guys have been there before. When you stand there and those tractor trailers are coming at you at 50 miles an hour, there's certainly a concern there for safety.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I'm just concerned for, the public, our employees, and the police officers as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay, thanks, Selectman Harrington. And that's a very good point about the whole FIFA coordination as well. So I appreciate you guys bringing that up. Obviously, it's taxing on our police staff, police officers, providing security for Wrentham, as well as just the amount of additional traffic that we're going to be unfortunately receiving due to the proximity of our town, Route 1. You got to drive through Wrentham to get to the stadium. So anyway, appreciate that. Let's hoping for the best. I understand it's a big project, needs to be done. Just appreciate anything you can do just to keep up with the communication, and obviously your willingness to shift as needed if something's not working. So appreciate you saying that. Selectman Lamoth, I'm so sorry I didn't give you an opportunity.
That's all right. I'm next up. Molly, quick question. The phase 2 is from Winter Street to the town line, which I assume is Norfolk. And what's the projected time frame for that to happen, and how long will that take?
Josh, do you have a projected timeline there?
No, we haven't really dove into what the schedule will be for that. As soon as I kind of put that together in a scheduling program, I can, let you guys know and send you guys, some information on that. I will say it's probably more than likely going to be the construction season as well, more around the April to September, October timeline to try to get as much as we can in, because it is quite a long length from Winter Street down to basically Norfolk Power and Equipment.
Yep.
And I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to coordinate with either detouring traffic or leaving that open, because that gets really tough from that section, trying to detour maybe up 115 into 140, but that gets, it's going to be a lot more challenging, because certainly you have all the trucks and equipment going into that industrial park there, and then the other one across the street. So there's going to be some, I'm going to have to think about that on how we're going to coordinate that, but it will be more than likely for the season.
So the next question is what does it look like? What do the pipelines look like from Lorraine Metcalf into the town of Wrentham? I mean, is that something that is okay, or something that we're going to need to, be concerned about in years to come?
So no, those are not identified as lines that need to be replaced. That's why we are catching it from that point and going towards Walpole. There's lines along 1A that whole way to Walpole that we need to replace. So we're going to continue on once we get into the Norfolk and then the Walpole area. But up towards the center of Wrentham, as of right now, we have no future plans to be doing that area.
Thank you. I'm done, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for those comments. Appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be back in touch with you at some point. Please keep Mike King abreast of any developments, and he'll do, as he always does, is keep our board updated as well. So thank you both for being on. Appreciate the presentation, Molly. Appreciate the additional information, Josh. Have a good evening.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Have a great
Thank you.
evening.
All right, let's go. We still have some work to do here. Let's go to tab 12, I believe. Yeah, tab 12, we're going to talk about an update on the annual town meeting warrant articles, documentation in our packet, our draft warrant articles, and a memo from Rachel Benson, Director of Planning and Community Development. You know, I do want to mention before we hop into this, and I'll hand it over to Mike King if he wants to add anything. We're going to have 3 different opportunities as a board to review these articles. So my suggestion would be, if the board's okay with it, is that we look at and listen to the articles this evening, and then if we have specific questions on article numbers, send Mike King and I an email with, you know, wanting more information on a specific article. What we'll then do is work with the necessary department heads and ask them to come to a subsequent meeting, maybe next meeting, that we can dive in, and then you know, we'll have the opportunity to kind of work it like that. Mike, do you agree with that, or you want to add anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I'll just add that, you know, there'll be 3 opportunities, this being one of them, for the board to review the draft warrant. So the board will continue its review on April 21st at its subsequent meeting, and then there will be a final review and vote scheduled for May 5th, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Great. So Mike, who's going to take us through the warrant articles? Or are we going to talk about any specific ones, or is this just more of these are the warrant articles? Do you have ones you want us to pay attention to? Do you want any feedback on any of them right now?
Yeah, there's a couple that I will just highlight.
Okay.
To provide a little bit of additional context. So, you know, you will see in the draft that there are placeholders for the animal control bylaw article and the planning board articles. The animal control article is still being finalized by town council to incorporate additional updates resulting from the state's passage of Ollie's Law, which increased oversight of kennel licenses. And then additionally, the planning board articles are accompanied by several supplementary materials, which have been included for reference. I would also point out that on the tab, there was some information that was requested of me to provide to the select board in regards to the secret ballot threshold for capital projects. So I was asked what would the $2 million threshold that was set in 2006, what would that be if CPI was used for adjustment? That would be $3,300,000. And the other suggestion was, well, what would it be if we tied it to the town budget increases? And that would be $4 million. So that you have 2 reference points there as for the select board in terms of consideration for that warrant article. I do not need exact direction this evening on which way the board would like to go for that article, but we will just need to come to a consensus by the May 5th date when the board will be voting to approve the warrant.
Okay, great. So I would say the action item is, like I said originally, at our leisure, we can look through these warrant articles. We can make a list of questions, comments, concerns that we have. I would recommend an email to Mike King and myself, and then we can get them addressed for our next select board meeting. Mike, do you agree with that action item?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I agree with that course of action.
And what about the board members? Is everyone comfortable with that?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, then let's do that. With that being said, I think we can move on. Anyone have anything else on the warrant before we move on?
Just one question. Will they need to be wet signatures or when the time comes?
My understanding is that this would be allowable to be a digital signature, but I will double check with the town clerk for her preference.
Okay, thank you.
Great, good question. What's next here then? It looks like we're tab 13, Mike King. Is that your fiscal 27 budget presentation?
It is, Mr. Chairman.
Well, please take it away.
All right, I'm going to share the presentation. Amanda, can you allow me to share?
There we go.
All right. So hopefully you'll be able to see the slides right now. We'll walk through the FY27 town manager's budget as proposed. So just looking at the budget presentation, this slide is the budget mission. So it just shows you overall, what are the core values that go into the overall budget process as we start the draft development. So it's maintain structural balance, deliver adequate level of services, improving the quality of life for Wrentham citizens, maintaining reasonable consistency of the tax burden, transparency, which we have for our GFOA budget document, sustainability, and truth in budgeting. So before the board right now is the budget process. So it began with department heads requests being submitted by February 2nd per the budget directive. The town manager, myself, completed the proposed budget on March 26th with a submission this evening, April 7th. The select board has multiple meetings to review the budget, but is required to adopt the budget within 30 days of presentation, which would mean that the budget adoption date would be the first meeting in May, which would be the May 5th meeting of the select board. After the select board adopts a budget for the town charter, it is then transmitted to the finance committee for additional review. The finance committee per the town charter is required to have a public hearing, which has been scheduled for May 18th. And that public hearing is on the budget. And then June 1st will be the town meeting date per our charter and bylaws, which is the legislative approval of the budget by the town meeting body for FY27. So when we talk about financial sustainability, we always look to our reserves. The town has had some success in continuing to fund reserves from non-recurring revenue, specifically being free cash. So we have our general stabilization fund, which is over $3 million at this point. Per the town's financial policies, our goal is to tie that to a minimum of 5% of the operating budget, which the town has been able to do. Capital stabilization fund, that's to smooth debt. It's currently at $54,000. Previously, it was several $1 million, but the town dedicated some of that funds towards the DPW building to limit the amount of debt that would have to be taken out on that project, which also allowed the DPW project to move forward without a tax increase. And then we have our OPEB trust, upper post-employment benefits. So that's for retiree health insurance, which currently stands at $1.4 million. And then the town continues to fund capital outlay in its operating budget from retiring debt, principal, and interest. This is a best practice that has been identified by our auditors as a very much a positive. And as debt is paid off, it goes towards capital outlay. So it's continued to use for capital resources and is not absorbed into the operating budget for personnel costs. So there will be a dedicated fund towards capital on any given year. So here's the overall budget overview. So we have before us this evening a budget that is structurally balanced using conservative revenue estimates. Every effort has been made to implement measures to maximize productivity and consistently deliver high quality of services. The budget as proposed, $57,785,280, which is an increase of 2.44% overall. I would like to note that this is the lowest budget increase year over year in 8 years for the town of Wrentham. Additionally, I would like to highlight the operating budget is balanced by the use of $1.1 million out of the town's free cash balance. This is $150,000 less than FY26 and is $600,000 less than the town's high point a few years ago, $1.7 million. So the town year over year has made efforts to reduce that amount of free cash. That's part of the select board's financial policies and is a best practice that is looked upon very fondly by bond rating agencies. So the town's free cash was certified by the Department of Revenue at $5.3 million, an increase of over $300,000 over the prior year. That's good news. The town typically appropriates the free cash towards a general fund budget on a more limited basis year over year, towards stabilization funds, so those are the reserves, and towards one-time capital items. Free cash is historically replenished if revenues exceed forecast or if there's an appropriation turnback, so if budgets are underspent. And specific items that replenish free cash are typically one-time items or items that are not allowed in the budget by DOR, such as tax liens or auction proceeds. So here's a 5-year look back on free cash certifications. So FY26 was higher than FY25. I'll point out that FY24, that kind of stands as an outlier. The reason being that was from the tax auction for 775 South Street, the Morrow property. So that was $3.2 million. So that's a significant item. If you really strip that out, this year's free cash would have been the highest out of the past 5 years without that outlying item. Next, I'm going to review the revenue for the FY27 budget. So there are several items that make up the overall revenue for the town, the largest being real estate and personal property taxes. That's at $46.8 million. The debt exclusion, that's $600,000. That's for the Tri-County school project. King Philip is paid off this current fiscal year. Their debt for the high school and middle school was paid off in FY26. So now it's going to be singularly Tri-County right now for the FY27 budget. Local aid, that comes from the state. Local receipts, that's your motor vehicle excise tax, fees and permits and licenses that the town charges at $3.9 million. Indirect charges at about $750,000 from our water enterprise fund. Transfers from other funds, so our ambulance receipts account, our cemetery account, which is what we charge for lot fees, and our septic loan program. So we give out septic loans and then we bring that money back in, which pays off the debt. And then there's free cash, which we identified earlier as a decreasing amount at $1.1 million. Here's a pie chart of all the different revenue sources as a percentage of the overall revenue. So you can see very strongly that the main revenue source is property taxes at 80%, state aid is 8%, local receipts 7%, then followed by our ambulance reserve account at 2%, other revenue sources at 2%, and then indirect charges from the water enterprise at 1%. What I'll point out is that the town has limited reliance on state aid, which is a good thing, because if there is some financial headwinds that face the state, oftentimes state aid is an area that they cut, which would have less effect on Wrentham as a whole. So these are the components of the real estate and personal property taxes. So for the tax levy, so what you do is you take the prior year levy limit, which is 45.3 million. You take your Proposition 2.5% increase, which is 1.1 million. And then we do our new growth estimate. So that's money we believe is going to be generated from additional taxes from new development at $500,000. Our debt exclusion, $600,000, which is Tri-County. And then we subtract out an allowance for abatement. So that's what we send to the overlay that the assessors use to write off taxes. So if somebody has an overvaluation, gets an abatement filed, there's an exemption, it gets charged against that account, which creates a maximum allowable levy for utilization by the town for the FY27 budget at $47.4 million. So new growth, as I stated, we estimated it at $500,000. It's based on permit activity and active projects. Amounts are conservative and projected at approximately a 5-year average. So we do a look back. And with the new growth, final amounts are not available until after the budget is presented to town meeting. So we get more of a better understanding of where we are at. With new growth, come the fall, we go to certify our tax recap with the Department of Revenue. So here's a graph showing the last 5 years of new growth. You can see, historically, we've been around this 500,000 mark. So we tried to go conservative here. Again, we have an outlier in FY24. FY24 was when Eversource reported a considerable amount of new growth to the assessor's office, which created a significant amount of personal property tax revenue that came in for FY24. So that I would consider that an outlier. So debt exclusions, you've heard me talk about these in the past. Often with the budget, it can be difficult to fund some of these large capital projects within the town's existing financial resources. So oftentimes communities look towards debt exclusions, which have to be approved by voters both at town meeting and at the ballot box, which allows the town to assess taxes above the Proposition 2.5 limits set by law. So the debt exclusion amount for fiscal 27 is $611,239 for Tri-County. You can see here our historic debt exclusion. So from FY22 to FY25, you have KP, which was slowly getting paid off. FY26 is the year where you have both the last year of KP and the first year of Tri-County together. So that's why FY26 on the bar graph looks a little bit much higher. And then in FY27 projected, now we go back to just one debt exclusion for Tri-County with KP falling off. So FY26 was the 1 year where the two debt exclusions overlapped. Historic state aid. So you can see that, state aid has been increasing. So, at a reasonable pace overall. And that's net state aid. So what happens is we get revenue from the state, but they also charge us for subcharge us back for certain items like county tax, which we'll get into on another part of the slideshow. But the good news is state aid has been increasing, and we're not dealing with a situation like we had from FY23 to FY24, where year over year state aid actually decreased for the town. So it had less financial resources than it did before from the state. So local aid. So there's several different items that make up your overall state aid. The largest of which is Chapter 70. That's school aid. The state's required to provide minimum per pupil funding of $30 per student. So you can see that the increases year over year aren't terribly significant, considering about how much school budgets often go up year over year in terms of what that state assistance looks like. Charter school reimbursements. So the town does get reimbursed to a certain extent for when charter students, when the town sends students to charter schools, because we are charged assessment for those students going to a charter school. We have approximately 45 right now. And the state has, as part of its state aid, a hold harmless provision. So the first year that there's an increase in your charter school attendance, which increases your assessment, there's 100% coverage of that tuition, then 60, then 40, and then eventually the town picks up the entire amount. But they kind of do an on-ramp to lessen the burden. And then you have your unrestricted general government aid that comes in with a slight increase from, still at the 1.1 million mark. Veterans benefits. So the town pays out Chapter 115 benefits to, some very needy veterans in town, and the state reimburses those at 75%. So we get that back in terms of local aid after those are paid out. And then then exemptions, pilot and offset. So you've probably heard some of the town meetings that we do offer some exemptions to the community for taxes. The state reimburses some of those to an extent, which we get back in the form of local aid. Pilot, so payment in lieu of taxes, that's for state-owned land. So the town has significant state-owned land that the state does provide some revenue for. And then they also provide some additional offsets to help with the town's library. So you can see here overall going from 5.6 million to 5.7 million in local aid. And then the assessments below are state and county, which actually went down. So that's a net positive, although ever slightly. And when we go into our budget, we utilize with this asterisk, the governor's budget, which is the first version of the budget. It still goes to the House, it goes to the Senate, and then there's a conference committee that brings it all together. Usually, in the most part, it goes up towards the end. So the governor is often a starting point. And as we see it work its way through the legislature, a lot of these numbers also get more refined. So here's a breakdown on the $3.9 million in local receipts, the largest of which is motor vehicle excise. Those bills go out early in the spring. We have 2.1 million budgeted for motor vehicle excise. Other excise, so that's your room and meals tax, as well as your boat excise tax at $300,000. Penalties and interest, that's the interest and penalties on late tax bills that are assessed. So that's 133,000. Payments in lieu of taxes. So those are pilots that the town has agreements with. So those are non-taxable entities that do still make a payment to the town of Wrentham. Licenses and permits, 566,000. So those are the licenses and permits that the various town departments charge. Fines and forfeits, 51,000. Police department, investment income, 252,500. That's the money that the town budgets to be derived from investing the town's cash by the town treasurer. Other charges, which is your solid waste pay-as-you-throw bags. So it's $51,515. And then other revenue and reimbursements. So that's some of your rentals, fees. So the town provides a school resource officer to the schools. They reimburse us for those. That shows up in that $367,000, as well as GATRA provides some funding for the council and agents bus service. So overall, that's $3.9 million in local receipts. Indirect charges. So these are to offset charges on the general fund on behalf of the Water Enterprise Fund. So we have a method and formula that we use on how we're going to charge the Water Enterprise Fund for services that the general fund provides. That's been reviewed by both the Department of Revenue and the town auditor. And for that amount, we have for FY27 about just nearly $750,000, just a slight increase over the prior year. But that includes, our administrative fees. So, for example, the tax collector's office collects the water bills. The Water Enterprise Fund offsets that cost to the town for those employees, as well as health insurance and other employee benefits such as retirement. In terms of transfers from other funds, this identifies ambulance receipts. So annually, the town appropriates an amount to be transferred from the ambulance receipts fund to the general fund. This is to subsidize the cost of the ambulance for the town's firefighter paramedics, as well as capital repairs or replacements for the ambulance fleet that are charged directly to the general fund. This amount is a slight increase over the prior year. Slightly, it was at 1.1 million last year. This is $1,170,000. The ambulance fund has been operating quite well, and because it's been operating well, the town's been able to purchase ambulances out of the ambulance receipts account without having to endure additional tax costs to the taxpayer. So in a way, it's self-sufficient. So we just went over the revenue. Next, I'm going to identify some of the budget uses on expenses. So here's a pie chart showing the summary of budget uses. So the largest use is education, 54% of the town budget. It's followed by public safety at 16%. Our employee benefits and insurance, which is 15%. 8% is general government. So think of your town hall related offices. 5% is your public works, and then you have several that are 1% respectively. which is human services, culture and recreation, and debt service. And here you can see as a summary of budget uses, the budgets for all these respective areas of concentration for the town budget. You have the FY25 tax rate, the FY26 tax rate that was set, and then in FY27, you can see how the budget is recommended at this version of the town manager budget. So from 54 million in FY25 to 56.4 million in FY26 and 57.7 million in FY27. So I'm going to start by going through the individual budget functions as an overall. So the first would be general government. So this represents the town's administrative, executive, and legislative activities. Also includes our legal services. So the objective is to establish and enforce policy, collect all the town monies. So treasurer collector's office, account for all town transactions, and process all town information. So the town manager, being myself, I propose a decrease to the general fund budget in the amount of 211,000. So it's about a 4.87 decrease, less than the prior year. This is primarily due to the fact that capital outlay funds, which are part of general government, are being dedicated to debt service to offset the cost of the new DPW building. I would like to highlight that the general government budget does include updated costs to cover the regional conservation agent agreement that we've already discussed. We also have an additional initiative that I'm excited about in terms of using shared services with the school IT department. So we talk about regionalization and intermunicipal agreements. There's also opportunities to share resources between the town and the school. Wrentham Public Schools, we've done that successfully with our facilities department, facilities manager. And this is another opportunity with the town IT department. And the other item that you'll see when you dig into the budget book, this also covers increased costs to the town's wastewater treatment plant. We had to go out to bid for a new contract for that, which has yet to be awarded, but we have an estimated amount that we're covering in there. Next up is public safety. So that includes your police department, fire, ambulance, emergency management, communications being the MEC, inspectional services, our building commissioner, and animal control. In this case, I am proposing an increase of $527,000 or 6.16% to the public safety budgets over the prior year. So the reason that it's going up 6.16% is because being proposed is an additional full-time police officer. A school resource officer. The King Philip Regional School District has requested an additional school resource officer to be dedicated solely to KP. We have budgeted that cost. However, King Philip does reimburse us for that. So that shows up in terms of our increased local receipts for that SRO. And then additionally being proposed is a firefighter paramedic, one to be added to the fire department. So one of the select board's goals is to open up Station 2 in West Wrentham. Having additional fire staffing helps get us closer to that goal. And as well, this public safety budget includes other additional contractual increases related to personnel costs. Next budget function is public works. So that includes the multiple divisions of the public works, highway, our parks and cemeteries, our fleet maintenance, and our water is contained separately in the water enterprise fund. So this will be just the general fund, not including water. Proposed for public works is an increase of $78,300 or 2.65% to the public works budget over the prior year. Primarily, most of this increase is related to the street lighting count costs going up, and the solid waste and recycling contractual services, as well as disposal tonnage fees per the 3-year contract with 2 1-year options that are for trash and recycling services. So this is the 3rd year of that contract that was previously negotiated, and the town has 2 1-year options on it still, which will hopefully help contain costs, because when we see when towns go back out to bid on these trash and recycling contracts, they usually go up quite significantly. Next budget function is human services budget. So that includes public health, council on aging, and our regional Veterans Affairs Office that's shared with North Attleboro and Plainville. So the town manager proposes a human services increase of $13,430 for 2.43%, which primarily accounts for contractual personnel increases. I'll note that the town had previously forming the Metacomet Public Health Alliance in collaboration with Franklin and Norfolk as joining Wrentham as a regionalized service has really allowed the town to limit the increases to the public health budget. So, as we kind of look at this budget at 2.43%, a lot of that is due to the fact that we have this regionalized resource that provides additional services, but also limits the tax impact to the taxpayer. Next budget is culture and recreation. This primarily is the town library and our recreation department, which includes the recreation department's management of its wide range of facilities from the Rice Complex, Sweat Field, Sweat Beach, as well as park facilities. So the town manager is proposing for culture and recreation an increase of $21,121 or 3.26% over the prior year. Similarly, human services, a lot of this increase is primary contractual wage, but we've also fully funded some of the recurring library expenses, such as their copier and people counter system that tracks patron attendance at the library within the library operating budget. So by putting reoccurring library expenses within the operating budget, it frees up the state aid for more one-time expenditure opportunities. So the largest budget function is education. So education in this case includes the Wrentham Public School District, so the elementary school, King Philip Regional Middle and High School, as well as the Regional Vocational Assessment, which is Tri-County, and Norfolk Agricultural School. So the town manager is proposing an education budget of $30.4 million. The proposed amount reflects an increase of $29,154, or 0.10% over the prior year. I'm going to get into why that amount seems low. So the education cost center is $15.8 million for Wrentham school operations, or 4.7%, $712,217 more than the prior year to be exact. I will confirm that increase is the highest in over a decade. So last year, the increase was the highest in over a decade at 4.4%. This year, we've actually increased it even more. So 4.7% for the elementary school district. King Philip is $12.3 million, or a 6% decrease, $787,964 less than the prior year. A majority of that number, over $500,000, is due to the debt exclusion falling off. So, of that $700,000, $500,000 is related to debt. Wrentham had a decrease, actually a significant decrease in student enrollment. It's actually a 60 student drop year over year, which is leading to a decreased assessment correspondingly. Plainville student population also decreased year over year from FY26 to 27, while Norfolk's continues to increase overall. So due to the fact that Wrentham decreased 60 students, there was actually a negative year over year assessment compared to Plainville and Norfolk's, which increased closer to the 7-8% range. Tri-County vocational assessment, $2.1 million, or 4.744%, nearly $100,000 more than the prior year. That includes the Tri-County debt exclusion payment of over $600,000. The town picked up 2 students year over year for Tri-County. And then Norfolk Agricultural Assessment of $74,000, or a 9% more than the prior year. Norfolk Aggie budgets a little bit differently, where you actually only pay for the exact amount of students that they have come the spring. So they'll bill you for that. So it's often kind of a moving target in terms of budgeting, because you're waiting to see who accepts for the next following year. So we try to budget a little conservatively because we had a higher than usual number of applicants for FY27. So here's a pie chart showing the education ratios as a relation to the overall budget. So 47% of the town's budget is not related to education, you can see there. But if you dig into the education numbers, Wrentham Elementary Schools is 27.5% of the overall budget. King Philip is 21.5% of the overall budget. And Tri-County and Norfolk Agricultural is 4% together. Now, what's important to note is that King Philip, that includes all of their costs related to health insurance and retirement, while the Wrentham Public Schools at 27.5% does not include employee benefits or insurance. So there's a lot of accommodated costs for Wrentham Public Schools that are in that 47% of the town share. So that's the health insurance, that's the retirement, that's the property and liability insurance that's in the town budget, not necessarily in the school budget like it is for King Philip. Next budget function is debt service. So that's the principal and interest payback on the town's issued bonds. So there's an increase of $341,473 that aligns with the town's debt service schedules. And you can see the jump there from FY26 to FY27 is due to the fact that there is the new upcoming debt service for the DPW building. The reason it's possibly not higher is that we also had a roll off of debt. There was an addition to the Delaney that's been paid off that is offsetting some of that FY27 increase for the town's debt service in FY27. Insurance and employee benefits. So those are those fixed and accommodated costs. So health insurance, as well as our workers' comp, unemployment, property and liability. So there's an increase being proposed of $577,552 or 6.65% to the insurance and benefits budget. This consists of the Norfolk County Retirement Assessment, which came in at a very low 1.66% year over year, and an 11.63% to the health insurance due to increased costs and subscribers. So I announced to the board previously that our health insurance premiums were at 7.4%, but we've seen an uptick in subscribers, which increases the budget greater than the actual premium increase at 7.4%. So we're seeing some employees jumping on the plan during open enrollment, as well as additional people who are going from individual to family plans, which increase the cost. And then our last budget function slide is other budget uses. So the town annually appropriates for a reserve fund. This amount is $200,000 for unforeseen expenditures, which the town can petition the finance committee for a transfer if there was a significant budgetary need that couldn't be fulfilled within one of the town's operating budgets. There's a reserve for abatements, which is the overlay account that I mentioned earlier, which is $200,000. That gets incorporated in when the town does its recap in the fall. It's not necessarily voted on at town meeting. The state and county assessments, these are really beyond the control of the town manager and are assessed directly by the state, and they take it out of the town's state aid, so they offset the revenue assessments. And then we have our capital outlay for capital projects, which is currently budgeted at $166,782. And that's the amount that when we have our debt service that comes off the books, it gets moved over to the capital outlay so the town always has something within its operating budget to dedicate towards capital projects, particularly amongst lean years. And you can see the state and county assessments have actually been decreasing year over year. In the town's FY27 charter school assessment is $971,000. So in conclusion, the town has before it this evening the select board, as presented by the town manager, responsible level service spending plan that maintains staffing and quality services. There's an emphasis on increasing the bond rating and adhering to the financial policies that the select board has set. There's a continued pursuit of regional opportunities. and that these years of careful planning have allowed us to avoid budgetary cuts, particularly at a time when many communities and school districts have been struggling within the constraints of Proposition 2.5 and have been having to utilize additional free cash to balance their budgets, or looking at staff layoffs, as I know other communities in the area have been considering. So the fact that we're able to put together a budget at 2.44% and not have to use additional free cash, we're actually lowering it. We're actually able to add additional staffing. I would consider a measurable success. So with that, I would ask if there's any questions from the select board.
Mike, I'll just quickly say, although we're going to have multiple opportunities to talk about the budget, I want to say that from what I can tell from presented tonight, I think there are some really good highlights. I think it's a great budget. It was a great presentation. And I think we're going to have a few meetings to talk about this. So I would ask the select board if there's anything major that you want to discuss quickly tonight, please go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to take my comments, take some notes on that budget, that nice presentation that Mike just did, and I'll follow back up with the board members and offer an opportunity for us to dig in a little bit at one of the next meetings. Is that okay with the board?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone have anything that they need to address tonight about the budget, or take our opportunities to? Roy, you raising your hand? You're muted.
So all the questions that we submit, we'll review every one of them together later.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So feel free to make a list of questions, send it to me and Mike. Mike, similarly, what we're going to do with the other follow-up for the warrant articles, I would suggest, Mike, if you're okay with it, board members make a list of any questions they might have for the budget, send it to you and I, and then you and I can put them all together and address them with the full board.
Yeah, I think that would work well, Mr. Chairman. And we have, the April 21st meeting for further discussion, and then the select board has until the May 5th meeting to vote to approve per the charter.
Great. Okay, Mike, excellent job again. Let's move to the next thing on our agenda, which is public comment, which is tab 14. Residents who wish to participate in public comment will be allotted 2 minutes to speak and must state their name and address for the record. Put your camera on as well, please, if you can. At the time of the comment, timer will send via message from Amanda Vazzapolo. Should be visible at the top of the screen, and an alarm will chime when time is up. Let's go ahead and give anyone an opportunity. Raise your hand, a few seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, nobody. Mike, back to you for your town manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a number of updates for the select board this evening. The first being that myself and Finance Director Christine Dupras and Treasurer Collector Kathy Nelson met with Standard & Poor's last week, the bond rating agency, to review the town's financial position in advance of the upcoming bond offering for the new DPW facility. Initial feedback from the rating agency was positive, where they noted the town's recently adopted financial policies and overall strong financial condition. We anticipate receiving the official rating from Standard & Poor's on the upcoming bond issuance within the next week. The select board is scheduled to vote on the approval of the bonds at its May 5th meeting. Update on the Sweat Park lighting project. The Sweat Park lighting project is currently out to bid with submissions due on April 24th. Interest has been strong to date, and a pre-bid conference and site walkthrough is scheduled for tomorrow morning at Sweat Park. I would also like to alert the select board to some DPW work that is currently taking place over at Hales Pond Dam. The DPW is performing maintenance at Hales Pond Dam on Jenk Street, which is including clearing some overgrowth. The town previously received a $25,000 state budget earmark to help offset expenses with the dam and to fund a study of its future maintenance needs. I also have an update on the Route 140 stormwater project. There were additional funds remaining from the state earmark for the Route 140 stormwater project, and the town has issued a second smaller phase 2 bid to construct an additional infiltration basin aimed at improving drainage and reducing flooding around 140. The phase 2 project has been awarded to RJ Gabriel, the low bidder on the initial phase as well. Construction is scheduled for completion no later to June because the funds do expire on June 30th. Update on the town election. Yesterday's town election saw 947 voters cast ballots, representing approximately 9.3% of the town's registered voters. For comparison purposes, this is less than half of last year's turnout, when 1,927 voters participated, approximately 19%, in an election that included additional contested races on the ballot. I'd like to thank the town clerk Ann Fisk, Assistant Town Clerk Michelle Dahl, and all the election workers and detail officers for ensuring a smooth and efficient election process.
Yes.
And the last update I have for the board this evening is we have received the resignation of Rachel Benson, the town's Director of Planning and Economic Development. I want to personally thank Rachel for her 7 years of dedicated service and for her many contributions to the Wrentham community, and wish her all the best in her future endeavors. We do anticipate posting the position as soon as possible to minimize the vacancy period. And with that, that completes my town manager's report.
Yeah, Mr. Town Manager King, I meant to say this before when we were talking about some of the other items. I too, on behalf of the board, would like to, and I'll let the board obviously chime in as well, but thank Rachel for her 7 years of service to the community. She will be missed. I know she's going to, another community nearby, and, she's done a lot while she's been here. She's overseen a lot of projects, some very difficult. But I will say that she has a level of professionalism, very, very, very profound knowledge of her trade. And Rachel, you'll be missed now that I see your face. So I appreciate the time working with you. I wish you the best in your future endeavor, and appreciate you, all the hard work you did for us and the taxpayers here in Wrentham. Any other board members, feel free to, say anything you'd like as well, starting with Michelle Rouse.
I think you eloquently said that for us as a board. Rachel, you'll be greatly missed. Your insights, your experience was greatly valued here at Wrentham, and we thank you for all your service. And wishing you all the best in your new endeavor.
Amen. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, just want to wish Rachel all the best, and I wish you good luck.
Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, Rachel, thank you for all you've done for the town. Hard work, dedicated employee, quite the contributor to where we are today, and I wish you the best in your new endeavor.
And Selectman Lamothe.
Rachel, I was looking forward to learning a lot from you in my new appointment as of tonight, but I'll have to wing it. So thank you and good luck.
All right. Thanks, Rachel. We appreciate it. With that being said, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
first of all,
sir.
good job tonight. And I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Second by newly reelected Select Board Member Michelle Rouse. Any further discussion? No, being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Yes.
Selectman Anderson. Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Great job, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have a
good night.